paise which were in the pocket now. So either by increase the size of aggregate demand and mitigate or overcome the crisis of neoliberal capitalism. But both these ways of government raising resources for enlarging its expenditure are disliked by global finance, globalized finance. Not very surprising why they should dislike greater taxes of the rich, because obviously they are among the richest. So they would not like financiers are among the richest. Therefore, it's not very surprising that they would in fact dislike, intensely dislike any greater taxation of any greater taxation of the well-to-do. As a matter of fact, during the time that Joseph Biden was the president of the United States, he wanted to raise the corporate taxes. But on the other hand, if America raised corporate taxes, but other countries don't, then capital would go in these other countries. So he wanted to have an international agreement on the minimum corporate tax rate. There was so much objection from finance that ultimately the only minimum tax rate, corporate tax rate they could agree on was 15%, which was lower than the corporate tax rates in any countries which at the time. So that even the minimum corporate tax rate he wanted to raise in states. So obviously, if the rich want to, if the finance is opposed to any greater taxation of the rich. But finance is also opposed to a fiscal deficit. Why it is opposed to a fiscal deficit is a very deep question. It is to do with the legitimacy of capitalism, legitimizing capitalism. They don't want the government. They want the government to work through capitalists, providing them incentives in order to raise employment, but they don't want the government to directly spend to raise employment. So they are opposed to a fiscal deficit, which is why most countries in the world, with the exception of the United States, have got fiscal responsibility legislation that says not more than 3% of GDP can be the fiscal deficit. Ask yourself the question, why is it that we in India